Hey, Brian Young here. Today's video is on hiring book listers. So I would highly recommend you check out the other video, Hiring Book Sourcers, first, because I really go in depth, comprehensive on a variety of topics that would not only be applicable to hiring book sourcers, but also book listers. So this video series is going to be much shorter than the book sourcing video series because I'm going to kind of cut to the chase, and then I'm going to make some references back to some previous videos that you can check out to fill in the gaps. So again, the book sourcing series will give you information on creating a comprehensive compensation plan. So it kind of goes through some options of how you can compensate your workers, and just the philosophy behind that is presented very well in that video series. Also, I discuss about how to provide training to your book sourcers, and some of the methodologies will also work with book listers as well. And finally, where to find good employees. So friends, family, strangers, where to post ads for job availability and that sort of thing. Some of that is covered in the book sourcing training series as well. So be sure to check that out. So in this video series, we're going to talk about hiring your first book lister. And just to kind of walk you through the various topics that we're going to be talking about, we're going to go over just an overview first. I'm going to explain to you what a book lister is. We're going to talk about what it's going to take to train in your book lister and make sure your book lister has the appropriate equipment. Finally, we're going to talk about compensation. I'm going to share with you my compensation plan for book listers. I'm just going to give you a few options that you can use in your own business. And finally, I'm going to talk about writing a job description. So one of the key elements to finding good qualified people to list books for you is to make sure you have a clear and concise job description. And then after they're hired, it's also very beneficial to have that job description, somewhere set in stone in place so that you can refer back to it if changes and growth needs to happen for that individual within the position. So first of all, what is a book lister? Well, a book lister is an individual who preps, lists, labels, and ships books off to Amazon FBA. So that's my own definition. I came up with the term book lister. Obviously, those aren't my words. They're words that are actually in the dictionary. But a book lister is somebody that I hire to prep and ship out the books. So our book sourcers will go out and source the books. They'll evaluate and purchase books that meet our criteria. Then they'll drop off their books at a book lister's place, and it's their responsibility to prepare and label and ship the books off to Amazon to be sold. So if you want to train in your book lister, the first thing I'd recommend you do is to learn the system yourself. So I'm going to jump down to point number 3 there. I think especially for somebody just starting out in this business, it'd be good to have just a cursory general knowledge, some good tangible experience of the entire book listing process. So if problems come up in the beginning, or even after your book lister has been working for you for a while, you'll kind of have an understanding of the process, and you'll be able to help them find the answers they need. Highly recommend you check out Choose a Book Listing Method in module number 1. I just go over a variety of the software applications and programs that are available for you to choose from to list your books. You can list your books directly on Amazon.com, Seller Central. But if you want to expedite that process and make it a little more efficient, like I'd recommend, you can look at programs like ScanLister, Seller Tools, Bulk Upload Program, and Inventory Lab are the 3 options that I give you, and I walk you through the pros and cons of each. And then finally, check out the Gathering Supplies video in module number 1. It's going to show you all the supplies that I recommend that you get if you're planning on listing books. And then also turn to the book listing portion of the book flipping book. I have a whole list of all the supplies that I recommend and their price, their current price. And so you can kind of see and estimate your expenses going into this business and have a good idea of what you're going to be spending to get a book lister set up. So once you get comfortable listing books yourself, then that's a great opportunity for you to invite somebody else in to outsource the entire thing. I mean, you don't need to be proficient at it. You don't need to be an expert at listing books. Just comfortable enough where you can kind of go through the process and teach somebody else how to do it. Because you don't need to be an expert. You're going to be hiring somebody, hopefully, that has all the intangibles and characteristics to do really well as a book lister. All you need to do is kind of show them the path, and they're going to become experts at it because they're going to be focusing a concerted amount of effort on just the logistics and just the listing process. And there's no point for you to become an expert before they're trained in, because all you need to do is kind of show them that path, put them on the tracks to success. Now, I think that even just a one-on-one session is sufficient. Typically, when we train in our book listers, we go through one shipment or maybe a half a shipment. We go through like 100 books, and I show them how to prep, and then we separate them out into piles based on condition, and then we list them, by their condition piles, and then in reverse order, we label them, and then we box them up, and package them, weigh them, and then ship them off. And I think just walking through that process is enough. It's not brain surgery. It's not rocket science. It's not super conceptual. It's very easy. Once they understand the concepts and the steps, they'll do really well. And you can probably knock that out in a few hours of working with them. And then after you've let them go, after you've given them that training, I'd encourage you for the first few weeks just to monitor their shipments closely and ask questions. Make sure they're putting in the appropriate mem SKUs. Make sure that they're conditioning books appropriately. Make sure there's no red flags sticking up along the way. And then I think that's it. I think you train them in one afternoon for a few hours. You monitor them closely for the first few shipments, and then they should be able to operate completely independent of you the rest of the way. So again, our system is they clean and they separate the books based on condition. Now we list books using a program called Scan Lister, and that's just a third-party program. It's a downloadable program that it's a glorified spreadsheet. So you scan in all the barcodes, it pulls up live the names of the books, and then we select the default price because we don't have our book listers actually price the books for us. And they do a few extra things, and then they're able to basically upload those to Amazon Seller Central, where they can label them and finish the shipment there. And like I said, because we're using Scan Lister, we don't label each book individually as we list it. We'll label them all in bulk at the end of the shipment once we get to the Amazon website. So we list them in a certain order, and then in reverse order, we just print out all these labels on 30-up sheets. So it's a regular standard sheet of paper with 30 address-sized labels on it. So 30, they call it 30-up for that reason. We put that into our inkjet printer, and we print out all the sheets of labels that we need, and then we just start at the back, the last sheet, and we just label the books in reverse order. And then now they're ready to be boxed. And then once we get to that portion of the shipment process, we box them up nice and tightly in small or medium-sized Home Depot boxes, typically. Pack in the extra areas with brown paper and tape them up and weigh them. And then we pay for shipping, put the shipment labels on top, and then we schedule UPS pickup. So we schedule UPS to come and pick up all of our books from our home office or from wherever they're shipping it out. So a pretty easy system. Feel free to borrow ours or to make a hybrid model of your own. But you want to make sure that they have all the equipment necessary to succeed. Now again, depending upon how you've structured your business is going to have a big impact on who and how equipment is purchased. So if you want your book listers to be true independent contractors, then they're going to need to purchase their own supplies. And there's a variety of ways you can do this. You can have them just flat out go and buy them themselves. You can give them a list. Or you could buy it and then sell them a package on a monthly payment plan. So you could say, okay, I'll buy all the equipment, but I'm going to charge you $15 or $20 a month. And that's going to cover all these things until you have them paid off. That's another way to do it if you don't want to put too much of a financial burden on them up front in the beginning. The other way, if they're an employee of yours, then you can just go ahead and purchase those items and then write them off on your taxes at the end of the year. So it's up to you. Again, how you structure your business is going to influence who pays for these items. And then compensation, like I talk about in Hiring the Book Sourcer series, there's four different basic ways you can pay people. You can pay them hourly, you can pay them on a salary, you can pay them a commission after the sale, you can pay them like a per book listing fee, or you can pay them some type of hybrid of all those things. So again, based on how you're structuring your business is going to probably lend to some of these compensation plans more than others. So you pay them hourly. I know people that pay book listers, $15 an hour, somewhere in that range. Salary would be like, no matter what you do, no matter how many hours you work, I'm going to pay this flat amount per week or every other week or every month. You can give them a commission after the sale. You can track which books that they're listing, and you can give them a percentage of that sale after they sell. Again, that one is great because they get paid when you get paid. If your business is profitable, they make money. If your business is not being, very profitable, then they're not making money. So you're not putting yourself at a disadvantage there. The disadvantage for them is that they have to wait to get paid until their books sell. And that means they're going to need to build up an inventory before they catch the windfall of selling books online. But they could ultimately end up making way more money than they could hourly. And then finally, what we do is a per book listing fee. And that's just paying them per book listed. And you could do a hybrid. So you can say, you know what, I'm going to give you a salary or a commission after the sale, whatever's higher. And then at least they're starting out with some base pay eventually would lend itself to making a commission after the sale once they built up that inventory. So we give our book listers 25 cents per book listed. So using ScanLister and not having to go through the internet and have lots of information coming at them like with Inventory Lab, or it is a pretty time-consuming process to list books using Amazon Seller Central. We think they can reasonably list between 70 to 80 books per hour. And if that's the case, that means they're making between $17, $50, and $20 per hour. Now we know that once, during the training process, they're probably not going to be that efficient. So they're probably going to make more like $12 to $15 an hour. But I still think that's good money for the work that we're asking them to do. And if they get really good, they should eventually. I think if my main job was just to list books, I think I could come up with a system where I could list 100 books an hour. In fact, I've done that before, and that'd be $25 an hour. So I think our compensation model encourages them to work efficiently. It gives them no incentive to be slow. They're not trying to maximize the amount of hours that they put in with our company. They're trying to maximize the amount of books they get in, and that's a good thing. I think that means that our goal and their goal have aligned. I think that's a good thing for business.